And let's see, sign if I believe we're going live. I'm going to go ahead and record just in case. Blessings, everyone, and welcome to the Live as Frequency Summit. I've really been looking forward to connecting with Peter. This is going to be my first time having this connection with you, Peter, and I was kind of looking through some of your YouTube videos and connecting to some of the stuff you're doing, and it fully resonates with me. So I'm really excited to see where this conversation goes. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll see where this amazing conversation goes.
Thanks, Jules. So I started my adventure with a wake up experience probably about 20 years ago, a little bit more. And it's really kind of important to understand these early years and where we've come from. So prior to my wake up experience, I had gotten successful monetarily at an early age. And the more successful I became, the more empty on the inside I was becoming. And I was crying for help, but I didn't know how to ask for it. So it was just this emptiness. And when that call was heeded, it was something I wasn't expecting. It was a moment in time that completely shifted my reality. So if you can imagine seeing the whole world in black and white your entire life, and then a millisecond later, you see everything in high definition color. That's how radical my change had happened. And for about the first 6 weeks after that experience, I thought I had literally gone insane. I had this immense sight growing. Everything was very, very acute. The energy was flowing, and I didn't quite understand what was happening. And the one thing that kept me going was I was becoming better at what I was becoming than where I came from. So as time went on, I started seeking out like-minded people and started to get a little turned off by the whole kind of like new age and light movement. I didn't really resonate with what they were about. And I started growing a massive ego. And this is, and about 6 months later, that ego popped. And that's where the real work began and the real learning started coming in. So my whole life, I had been invested in analytical mind, engineering, computers, and this new world, the right hand side, the metaphysical side, started growing at an exponential rate. And it was a little scary. I had problems kind of balancing out the two as time went on. But I had a conversation with the universe probably about 9 months into this adventure. And I basically said, if you want me to do this, and this is total ego talking at this point, right? We're going to do it my way, or it's going to be the highway, right? I said it's going to be fun, it's going to be adventurous, and I'm going to make a living eventually doing this. And they're just like, just like giving a monkey a nuclear trigger, and you can almost press that button. It was getting kind of intense. So I started researching water, and I came across Dr. Emoto, and he was a brilliant Japanese researcher that proved that water has consciousness. And the way he did that was he would send frequency or energy through a glass of water. Then they would freeze it, they would slice it, and in the samples that had beautiful energy center and like a choir singing to them were geometrically perfect. And the ones that had negativity sent to them were completely scattered. So I just want to take a moment out. Normally, when I do a show, I do a water blessing. Just get a glass of water. What we're going to do is we're going to raise our left hand over it about 3 inches. And in a second, you're going to start to feel energy moving down through your hand. Water is the most programmable material on the planet and will do absolutely anything for you once you acknowledge its existence. And that's exactly what we're doing. This is just a goodwill blessing to kind of set the tone and the mode for the show to ensue. Once that energy starts moving down through your hand, I want you to put your attention on the water. and say these 8 sacred words. I honor the space in which you exist.
I honor the space from which you exist.
After that, you're going to start to feel the energy increase through your hands into the water, at which point now you're going to want to drink as much as you want. Notice the taste and the texture of it. Now notice where it's moving in your body energetically.
It feels so good. I don't know if I've been kind of tapping into, it's been a couple of years now, H3O2, and it's basically the way your body starts to structure water when you bring higher frequencies in. And I'm probably chopping that up. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. This is all just done through observing it through my my inner sight. And as soon as I was doing that, that's immediate. I could actually feel the water in my body already restructuring without even having to drink the water, which was really fun.
So, water inside the body vibrates at different frequencies to support body function, whatever it is. Um, Typically, people that program water directly in their body go through a horrible detox. So, as their story goes on, I'll talk about different products and services that we've done with water. So, the idea of what Dr. Emoto did really intrigued me. You know, I had mad technology skills. I could write programs. Anyone can write a program and make it look pretty. But the idea was to write a program that would allow you to structure water based on intention.
Mm.
Now, because of the way my metaphysical mind was growing, I could extrapolate intention out of anything and create that frequency. But how would I use computer software to get it into a glass of water, say, next to the computer, or a case of water downstairs, or a body of water on the other side of the planet? Or maybe a cup of coffee on Mars, right? So you're kind of getting it. So it was the quantum realm, right? So, based on my engineering, I knew a little about quantum mechanics, but I was able to write a couple of algorithms that would pierce that quantum veil, right? So, just in short, if you have the ability to understand that everything is energy and that energy is all interconnected, that interconnectedness is what science coins the quantum realm, right? It's a place where your consciousness can exist anywhere or nowhere simultaneously. So, in essence, where you were to put your attention, you could then send an intention to. So I wrote this little crappy program called First Water. It was really rudimentary at the time. I think it had like 10 selectable intents. And the idea was you would select something like mind clarity and then move your attention to the water, and then the program would run through the frequencies, and then you drink the water, and it worked. And it worked beautifully. So
Can I ask you a question really,
sure.
because I can hear people asking. When you say program, are you talking computer program? Are you talking like
Yes. At the time, it
okay.
was a computer program.
Okay.
It was for the whole length, and all the software that came up until about 3 years ago, it was only available as a Windows download. So people on Macs, on iPhones, Androids, and everything else they were always upset. And I never wanted to make the mental investment into splitting the platform across multiple devices. So there's a that's when SaaS really came online, right? SaaS is software as a service. So within a web browser, we were able to recreate the software, which is now called Aquasync, and it's a suite of software, and you can run it on any device with a mobile browser and a data connection anywhere. So, and everything's saved online. It's now offered as a monthly subscription. So it's pretty advanced stuff. But we're fast forwarding like 15 years. So
Let me just let everybody know, I did see that on your website. So if you
yeah,
want to learn more about what he just talked about, you can go and find that.
it's a moderndaymystic.com, and you can click on the Aquasync tab. So The software really became commercially viable with the first release of the first product, which was Aquaware. And that came online July 4th, 2007 was the first iteration of the software. So for the last, 16, 17 years, we have been updating it, expanding its capabilities, and it just keeps getting better. So that's one part of the story. So as the company evolved into what is modern day Mystic today, we split the platforms off, right? We started doing a lot of YouTube information. There's probably 1,000 videos on the MDM channel on YouTube. I interviewed, we had this thing called, it was a really campy show called the MDM show that we ran for about 3 years. I interviewed about 100, a little over 100 people. There's a lot of great nuggets in there. I did this thing called the MDM minutes, which there's, I have hundreds of them, which are just kind of like a way to give back with tips and tricks, everything kind of in the spiritual field. And the whole time, mind you, I still had a professional job in an investment bank up until 2015. So I was like, Neo by day and Indiana Jones at night. I mean, I had two full-time jobs with completely split personalities. So it was definitely a trying time in my life as, putting everything together. Then I started doing personal sessions with people and typically 1 hour energetic sessions. And those have grown and evolved into a whole suite of different offerings today. But the coolest stuff actually happened after I left my professional career in 2015. That's when we started creating physical devices. Um, these are next generation spiritual products, and I have a few here to show you. This is one that came out a couple of years ago. It's called the HFA Palladium. This is the box that it comes in. I'm sorry, the kind of the background's blocking it out, but this is a device that you wear around your neck that actually helps program your reality as you're moving through it. So, one thing I have always prided myself on, especially when it comes to physical products, is how people feel when they get it, right? So you can have the strongest energetic device in existence. And if it's delivered sloppy, 90% of what it's going to do just goes out the window because you've kind of lost it. So over the years, prior to developing physical products, I had received numerous gifts from people. And I remember one time I received a gift that was well over $1,000, and it came wrapped in pink toilet paper, shoved into a USPS envelope with crumpled up laser instructions. And I never used it.
Mm.
I never used it just because the whole thing from the inception to when it's delivered to the customer is a spiritual practice in itself. It's an energetic cocoon that can't be wavered from. So in my practice, I'm the last person that touches anything that leaves in the mail. And I have to make sure I'm in the right mood because all these products contain the memories of where the last user that touched it. So if I had people that were in bad moods touching these products, well, guess what? When that arrives at the customer, same thing's going to happen. So super careful. This guy here is a vortex generator. Okay.
That like about as big as your hand.
Yeah, this is massive. This has six, this probably has 8 or 9 magnets in it. And the premise behind this is to create an energetic vortex that you can bathe yourself in. Now, there's a lot of known areas like out in Sedona. I think there's 9 of them that people actually travel all over the world to go to. And they sit there and they have these experiences, healing experiences, visions. And I was like, wouldn't it be kind of cool to just create something that, people don't have to travel halfway across the world? They can stick it under their chair and well, boom, you're in the experience. So the way this game is played with the universe, it's all done on how you value as you move forward, right? So it's all about information. So people come to me and they say, "Well, how did you get started?" And I kind of explain it, and they're like, "Well, how can I get started?" And I'm like, "Look, it's so simple. You do an act of kindness, right? Whatever that is, you." Get out in the world, you get involved, maybe in a charity, whatever you need to do to ultimately spread more love and light in the world. And what happens is the universe takes notice of you and gives you a breadcrumb, an energetic breadcrumb. And what you do with that energetic breadcrumb really determines if you move to a higher octave, right? So there's a lot of people out there that talk and talk and talk, and that's great, but they don't really create real change in the world. Then there's people out there that talk, but they actually motivate themselves to participate in creating and changing the world, right? So so everything that I've created has been built on information before it, right? So this is a fun story I like to tell. In 2006, I started experimenting with gold. Okay. And the idea was to start off with an ounce of pure gold and create 2 ounces of gold from that gold, right? So I built this lab in my basement and had all these really bad chemicals in there. So the way you dissolve gold is in something called aquaresia, right? It's 3 parts nitric acid, 1 part hydrochloric acid. And you mix that together, that dissolves all base group, all platinum group metals. So you throw this ounce of gold in there, come back in an hour, bloop, it's gone, right? So then you would use formic acid to neutralize the hydrochloric, but that creates this crazy chemical expansion. So, and I know from basic chemistry that when there's a chemical expansion, something's happening. So the idea was to use sacred geometry underneath this chemical expansion to punch a hole in the 0 point and push that energy through. So in my belief system, there's a multitude of realities that rage around us all the time. And you can use a 0 point to push something through. And the idea was to get gold back. So I would print these giant plotters of sacred geometry and I'd have this crazy chemical expansion going on there. And then once it calmed down, it turned into this green liquid. They used to call it the green lion. I don't know why, but and then from there, you use sodium borohydrate to reconstitute the gold as carbon. So and the carbon would float to the top, and then you scoop it out and you throw it in the crucible, and you'd apply matte gas to reconstitute it as gold. Now, the experiments were never as successful, but the knowledge gained, and this is how the universe does it. It makes it fun. I mean, I'm like, I don't know, in my early 30s or whatever, melting gold and creating sacred geometry and understanding how 0 point technology works. So that information stayed with me for another 9 years until the first physical product was created. It was called the HFA, A New Way to Travel, and it actually used spiraling vortexes, um, clockwise on one side, counterclockwise on the other, and that was the 0 point. And the idea was to put this into your vehicle, and magic would happen. Right, there was no more road rage. You would always get a parking spot out front. I mean, it just goes on and on. So this is how the universe works in delivering that information. It puts you through a learning cycle, because with great knowledge comes great discernment, right? They're not going to just give you this information. You have to get out there and earn it. But here's the key: it's fun. It's always fun.
So I don't know if you know this about me, and it's not quite the same, but I had something very similar happen in that I was given alchemy to create Ormus elements, which is monoatomic gold. And I actually use nano gold as part of that. So I play a lot in not the same way that you did it, but I had the same thing happen where I brought in sacred geometry to actually program the Ormus. So you're like talking, I'm like, we are definitely kind of, I love it when we find people that are doing the same things that in a similar way. it's that we're tapping into a frequency that has an intelligence. And all we're doing is listening to that intelligence and bringing it through. And when people are having similar things come through, it really lights me up because that intelligence runs through everything. And depending on where we are consciously is kind of how we're going to read that intelligence. So I fully enjoyed you going through that process. It was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and the learning never stops. It's always fun. It's always about, being in service to others. Um, so on the website, we probably have a couple thousand written and video testimonials based on the products and services that have been offered. And the thing that fuels me is the feedback, right? So the first time, and this was probably within the first 18 months of my wake up experience, I had done something to help someone, and I shifted their life so radically that they came back, and I don't remember the premise if it was written or we spoke on the phone, but that was an experience, a feeling that I wanted to get more of. And what it does is it pushes you beyond your limit, right? You don't want, so in this field, I'm never really motivated or passionate. I'm highly focused and driven. And when you're driven, you are unstoppable, right? So in terms of product creation, and this is all like along the lines of manifestation, I never worry about how, you're going to create something, as insanely beautiful as this. This is a new product called the Trio of Life. I never focus on how I'm going to get there. I always focus on the creation of the end result. So it's in my head. It's all about, the finer details. And what happens is the universe picks up on that and starts this self-assembly, right? And in the path and in your journey from the point of which you release it to the universe to when you wake up in the dream, when the product's finally delivered to you, is that experience. And that is purest manifestation at its lowest level. And it's just so easy because when you're driven to see that project through to completion, you are unstoppable. If something comes in your way, and it typically does, the universe just comes in and completely takes it out. And the coolest thing, so I've developed many, many products and even software around manifesting,
Wait,
right?
wait, wait. I'm sorry. I have to say this because I think it's really important for people to hear. I, when you say things that are so powerful and a lot of times you're just like kind of talking and I'm like, that is a golden nugget and I just want to highlight it.
Sure.
When we are in the process of manifesting and something comes in to interrupt it, there's this old paradigm thinking that, oh, it's supposed to be easy. I'm not supposed to do this anymore. Or, oh, everything's supposed to just flow to me if I'm in this place where, and that's not true. It's what we do when those interruptions come through that matters. And I love how you're like, oh, the universe just comes in and clears it out. But we have to allow space for that to happen and not go into the thought patterns that are actually adding to the interruption. So I loved how you just rose right through that, but that's a level of mastery. And I feel like it needs to be highlighted here for people that are listening. Okay, I'm done. Keep
No,
going.
no. So, manifesting is truly easy as breathing, as long as you know what you want, right? So, the basic premise of manifesting is you want something, you think of it in your head, you release it to the universe comes by, picks it up, and then starts putting together these energetic pathways in your future. Um, Most people have doubt or worry along that path, and that's why the thought form is destroyed. That's why they can't manifest anything. People want to manifest a red Ferrari tomorrow, and I love this example. So there's two types of manifestation. There's conscious manifestation and there's unconscious manifestation. Unconscious manifestation happens to us all the time. It happens 100 times a day. That is the deja vu. Yeah. It's the synchronicity. It's the blip in the matrix. You're driving down the highway and your thoughts just think of a red Ferrari. 30 seconds later, a red Ferrari drives by. That is unconscious manifestation, happens to us all the time. Conscious manifestation is easy in theory, but it's very difficult to produce in practicality and practical application, right? So manifesting, it has to make sense. I can't manifest a red Ferrari in my driveway the next day. It doesn't work like that. It's not possible. It doesn't make sense. Anything that you want to manifest in your life has to make sense on a human level. But here's the cool part: the universe is infinitely smarter than we are, and it always delivers that manifestation in a way that is so perfect that you never see it coming. So, okay, so you're not going to get the red Ferrari tomorrow, but what's going to happen is you're going to get a letter from a long lost relative that passed on with a big fat check to go buy that red Ferrari. That's how this game is played. Absolutely 100%. All you have to do to manifest something is start off small. Start off with a matchstick, start off with a blue thimble, start off with a safety pin, something that's small, very small. And what happens is you forget about it. And then generally within 72 hours, things manifest. Boom, you're going to pull back your covers. Well, maybe not with a pin, but it's just going to be there. You're going to be like, wow. So that's confidence building. When you are highly confident about manifesting because you've done it hundreds of times, there's nothing that you can't manifest. So as you kind of move up that ladder and build your confidence up, what happens is you start to become driven, right? So it's the same thing with product creation. I mean, if you look at the diversity of what we offer on the website, there's nothing like it out there. And each product line is so completely different. Okay, so here's one. This is the beauty of product creation. So a few years ago, I created something called the wishing sphere, right? And it's just beautifully crafted with sacred geometry, a sphere, different stones. We're using moldavite at the time, and then that went to $40 a gram, and that was out the window. So we switched to Libyan sand glass. So now you have this sphere, but they sent me on the second production run, they sent me the wrong size sphere. It was 40 millimeters instead of 60. So I told the guy, look, if I can find a way to use these, I'll pay you for them. He's like, that's fine, because it would cost more to ship them back, I guess, or whatever. So then I was thinking about it. I was like, why not create a mini wishing sphere?
Mm.
You see how there are no mistakes. There's only solutions to move forward. Another one happened. I developed this product called the DNA. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart on that one. But it's really for healing, right? It was a pyramid with a ruby. It had all this beautiful laser engraved on there, and it had a crystal across the top. Well, when the production order came in, the crystal didn't have any laser engraving in the top. I was like, oh, dude, we seriously have a problem here. I'm like 4 days away from a major launch, and yeah, I can't use these. I said, if I can find a way, I'll pay for it. So they sat around for 2 weeks, and I said, hey, I'm going to call these things Crystal this, and I'm going to program them with my energy from a list of 10 things. They sold out in 30 hours. They were gone. So this is how this game is played. You start manifesting small and things just accelerate. And once you're caught in that frequency in these higher octaves and you look back from where you came, you just get it, because only in the experience do you truly understand where you're at. You have to unlearn everything you have ever learned for the real learning to begin. And in that experience, you just get it. You just get it.
I love how you said the experience because I think you kind of tapped in this a little bit earlier as well, as you can know things intellectually and you can learn things, but until you actually experience it and embody it, it's just it's just out there or it's up here and it's not actually in the space where you're in the creation of, I call it the intelligence. When you're co-creating or you're in the creation, I call it being in the creation and the creator at the same time. It's you're just in it, right? And that's what I hear you talking about when you're
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's always an amazing experience. So if you want, we can do a process.
Do that. I would love to. Well, I'm gonna actually remove my pin here and you can take it away, Peter.
So a couple of weeks back, I did a process on the Darius show called Illuminating Your Soul. And it's the workshop was actually a full on hour, but we can do a 10-minute mini process. So I just need everyone to get a glass of water. I'd like you to raise your left hand over it. We're going to program this one vastly different. This is all about love, all about love. In a second, you'll start to feel that energy run down through your hand into the water, at which point you want to repeat those 8 sacred words. I honor the space in which you exist. Energy will increase through your hand, at which point go ahead and notice how it tastes slightly different from the last time. So this process is very powerful. And you're going to be in a trance and you will listen to my voice and I will take you in and then I will take you back out. 10 minutes is going to go by in the blink of an eye. Basically, I'm going to take you so far down the rabbit hole and you're going to have a conversation with your soul at this point. And again, this is just a quick kind of 10-minute tease, but you'll get the point. You can have conversations. You can ask for healing. You can ask for future events, past events, healing, anything you want. This is pretty cool. Okay. So I'd just like everyone to go ahead and get comfortable. Close your eyes. Again, so I don't do anything conventionally. So what you're about to experience is probably something you've never done before, but I want you to breathe through your mouth, exhaling through your nose. Breathe through your mouth, exhaling through your nose 3 times deeply. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to pull up a black silhouette in your mind's eye. On that silhouette, I just want you to draw the outline of a body. In a second, you're going to feel a gravity well come in from your left or your right. Gravity well is a dense piece of energy that's going to start pulling you towards it. Okay. That energy is going to move into the heart opening of the silhouette of the human that you drew, which is you. You'll feel it pulling you. Give it a few seconds to get centered. Now you're going to feel a slight tug that's going to rapidly increase, and you're going to basically be pulled into your own heart center as that gravity well just starts to pull you forward towards it. Once you move through it, you're going to be in a free fall, but it's going to be controlled. And if you look around as you're in that free fall, you might see kind of like bluish looking orbs of light. These are just higher vibrational frequencies that are there to support this process. You're still moving down. Everything in the universe is powered by a childish like energy. It's the Godhead by which all of creation is sprung. That childlike energy. That's everything. Now we're going to start to slow down a little bit, and you're just going to be floating in this utter darkness. In a second, you're going to start to experience something that not many people do. They're called the higher octave colors. They are colors that you cannot see with your human eyes, but when they show up, they'll be maybe like a waterfall. Sometimes it can be three-dimensional geometry and it just paints the sides, the different colors. You'll see them. When those start to show up, you're in the frequency range that we need to be in. Absolutely potent colors. Now, directly in front of you, a fissure is going to open up. It's a crack in reality. It's a other dimension. As that fissure starts to open up, this brilliant, beautiful white light is just going to bathe you. That, folks, is your soul. This is where it's game on. This is your time to have the dialect with yourself on a deep level. You can ask questions, you can interact. We're going to stay here for a few minutes now, and it's all on you. At this point, I'd like you to close off your conversations and we're going to start floating back up. Do not open your eyes until I direct you to. We're just floating back up. I'm going to count backwards. When I get to one, take a deep breath. through your mouth, exhaling through your nose. Three, two, one, and open your eyes. Welcome back. Can't hear you.
Here
Hey, Ar.
I am. Thank you for that, Peter. That was amazing. I'm going to open it up because I want people to be able to share their experiences and ask questions and get some support before we end the call today. So,
So this is where I'm at my best when, we get bombarded with questions and, um, I can give advice over any type of life situation that you might be going through. I mean, I'll do magic in real time. This is where things get fun. So this is your time, folks, to interact with me at this level. If there's something, go ahead and, raise your hand or type it, and we can, just describe your experience if you want, what you're feeling, if you accomplished anything.
Rebecca, we'll start with you.
Yes. I had a question about manifestation, because it's the way you were describing it. Um, it sounds like you have such a clear endpoint in mind when you're manifesting, in particular, the products you were speaking about. I'm in the process of manifesting a creative project, and it feels there are aspects of it that are clear, but there are aspects of it that are still very amorphous and unclear. And I just wonder if you could speak to that.
Sure. Great question, by the way. So your manifestation has to be whole, right? So manifestation has many, many parts. And you also have to remember that the whole is like the whole project, right? But the project is maybe split into 10 different pieces. You don't have to worry about the pieces. So where you're struggling with these other little parts, they're irrelevant. They will just work themselves out. You want to look at the bigger picture and never worry about the lower stuff, the minutia, we'll just call it that. Always, always, always focus on the bigger prize. And as you start moving towards that goal, and as the universe starts putting the pieces together, it just self-assembles. And the questions you have today will be a utter clarity tomorrow, right? That's it.
I love that. That was so helpful because I've definitely been getting bogged down in the minutia of it. And
And you
that
also have to remember when you're speaking, okay,
Mhm.
words have immense power to create your reality. So when you just said, and it's been negated, I've been bogged down, you are. Or,
Mhm.
reword it like, I'm moving through the process and it's amazing, right? You see the energy shift, you feel the vibrational difference. Words have immense power. Be very careful with that.
I love that. That Jules, that feels like a timeline shift in kind of your language from I'm here and now I'm moving this exact thing to here. Um, Thank you so much, Peter. That was amazing.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, Isabel.
Hi, Peter. I'm a big fan of yours. I've got Mini, yes, and I've got a couple of more things. But what I'm finding is that they work. I've got a very big um, good intentions and everything once I've received them, and they work, and then they stop working. I had inner child once tell me, well, all your toys were broken after 4 months after Christmas. So somehow it says, okay, that's a toy and it broke, but it doesn't start again. So I don't feel they work as effective as when I received them. So I wonder if there is more programming, if there is more activations to be done. or
Which product?
this one, the one you showed.
Okay, yeah. So
Yes, yes,
communication never stops.
never
The
stop.
energy never stops. It's just not possible. Each each creation that goes out in the world is in essence of like a child of mine, right? And each one has its own unique personality. And I can create something that's mind-bending to look at and give you a very simple instruction set on how to use that. And I keep it minimal because the most powerful usage scenarios with the product is self-discovery, right? It's out of the box thinking. It's taking something and pushing it so far beyond what it was designed to do. That's why I keep everything kind of basic. But the key to any of these products is the communication. The communication never stops. You're listening, but you're not hearing. You need to open up your heart. Okay, very important. You need to open up your heart, and you need to say, hey dude, what's happening, in very plain, whatever language you speak. Just keep it on a light heart. There's nothing complicated about any of this. As humans, we totally overcomplicate everything from A to Z constantly. Open your heart, keep it lighthearted, and just feel it. It just flows. That's it. That simple.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
That's
Thank you as well. I loved your answer there, Peter. And the other thing I was kind of picking up too is when we first get things, we attune really with focus because it's new and shiny, like the new toy. We play with it all the time. And then we get kind of bored of it and it loses its spark in our life. But the toy didn't change, we did. Like we stopped giving it that initial new focus, that childlike energy that you were talking about. And so I was getting also, she just kind of raised her frequency through the experience and she's expecting it to be the same experience when she first got it, but it's trying to create, like what you're saying, a new relationship with it that is more fine-tuned, because that's what it is to be a master, is that we keep going. So anyways, awesome answer. Love that. Okay, let's go with Jody.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. So right around January 2020, I like I don't know, I don't want to go into any story, but like I just I maybe it's a timeline shift. We can call it that. I just from January 2020 until now, there's been this motion of things changing dramatically. So, for instance, on my 60th birthday in 2018, I was around a table of 22 people that I was friends with for 20 years. And in the course of 8 months from January 2020, like I'm only in contact with like two of them now. Like I'm telling you, the entire landscape of my life just sort of like shifted. And I went into like sort of my cave more than ever, and I started listening to podcasts. I know it's so weird, but I never listened to a podcast before that in my life or that kind of thing. I started blah, 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 and then I found Jules on a podcast, which is comical. I don't know. I think it's 3 months ago now. I don't even know. And but there's a background to that of when, as long as I can remember, I'm crying because it's so amazing. I've asked the question, who am I and what am I doing here? And I'm still
So
living.
stop, just stop. Do you have water?
Yes.
Hold it up with your left
I'm like
hand.
flying right now. Jules, can you see
Hold it
me?
up with your left. No, don't drink it. Don't drink it. Hold it up with your left hand. Left hand's for receiving.
That's not
With your right index or your right pink, can you put it inside and just touch the water?
maybe. Shit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just let me know when you feel the energy moving into your finger.
I feel it.
Now, clean your mind. Think of white paper. Okay, we're done. For the next 7 days, each morning, and this is very important, at 9 a.m., you're going to eat pineapple. You understand what I'm telling you?
Okay.
That's all you have to do for 7 days. And all of your static, all of your energy goes back to calm. People in your life that are important will start to resonate back in within 30 days. That's it. End of story. It's that easy. Pineapple at 9 a.m.
Okay.
That's
I,
it.
I
Now,
just
remember, the most brilliant ideas are the most absurd and crazy. You don't have to believe, you just have to go through the motions, and the universe will do the rest. That's it. That's it.
yeah, go
That's
through I feel like I am going through the motions.
no, not yet, but you will be.
Okay.
You got this, girl. Let the intelligence lead the way. Eat
Yeah.
pineapple every day, 9
So
o'clock
funny.
a.m. I'll join you. I'll have fun with
Thank
that
you.
one too.
Historically, I've been allergic to it, but I'm gonna assume I'm gonna eat it. My tongue has bled historically when I eat pineapple. Just let's keep going.
Just keep going. Thank you, Jody. I love that's fun. Thank
So
you.
great.
All right, Devin. Let's go with you.
All right, thank you. So I have a question. I'm at the point where I'm getting better at connecting to my intuition, higher self, my soul, whatever you want to call it. And I can get, I
Stop.
can ask.
Stop. Words have immense power, and you have just done yourself a huge disservice. So I want you to think about what you want to tell me like you're already there and it's already in progress. And watch the vibration shift.
Okay, I'm not sure if I'm. So
Give him an example, Peter.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking me to do.
Okay, so you're describing almost like an issue or a problem, or at least that's the way it's coming across. And when you do that, you are in real time keeping yourself stuck in the moment, unable to move forward, just from the very words that you're saying. So, what I want to do is I want to help you shift that energy in real time so you're not stuck. You're actually moving forward in the process through this dialogue. So, go ahead again and say exactly what you just said before. I'm going to help you with it.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is I'm getting better at communicating to my intuition, my higher self.
Stop.
So
Stop. I am better communicating with my higher self and intuition. Do you feel the vibration shift right there? You're
I'm
you're
not, I'm
you're
not sure if I do.
assuming that you're getting better, but you're already there. You just have to let it out of the box. I am already there. You get it?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So reword it like you're already there.
So I'm able to ask and get answers back when I ask, but I also at times get inconsistent answers. And I've been trying to figure out what would be causing that. Why would I be getting inconsistent answers?
Okay, so remember I talked about the game that the universe plays with us all. They put you through motions to learn, right? They're not like okay, so all right, here's just a quick analogy. In my belief system, um, the center, I call it source, which is the center of everything, right? And outside there's rings, and the further the rings go out, the lower something vibrates. But the first ring outside of source are the archangels. Why do you think an archangel never shows up in the physical to talk to somebody? Why? Because the human mind can't handle the vibrational frequency. You would shut down. That would be the end of you. So the universe has to devise a way to help your mind expand, hit the frequency, but also grow. So it's not that they're inconsistencies. What they're doing is they're helping you to think for yourself and to learn. Okay. There is no answer that's ever wrong from the universe, but you just have to think the mechanics through a little bit more. And it's kind of like, instead of them spoon feeding you, it's time to to step up and start feeding yourself, and they will help you with that. And generally what they'll do is they'll leave breadcrumbs somewhere around, and you make these mental connections, and before you know it, you have an information superhighway with the universe, and then everything is coming together.
Okay.
Did that make sense? The
I-
inconsistencies are not inconsistencies. What they're doing is they're trying to, or they're working towards having you think a little bit more at a higher level, because obviously you have talent and they're communicating with you.
Okay, so keep figuring out the puzzle. Or
Brother, I've been doing
keep
it for
working the
20,
puzzle.
25 years, and believe me, it doesn't get any easier.
I love that answer, Peter. I was actually thinking that the other day. I always compare it to working out, because this is a muscle too. It's a practice that we have to commit to every single day. And no matter how strong you get, if you're doing it right, it's still hard, because that's what it is to push yourself past what you've already mastered, right? So even if you've been working out and lifting weights for 20 years, if you're doing it right, you're going to a level that is still hard. And that's all. And so there's always going to be these challenges where we're like, oh, I'm being challenged so I can get better. And it's just a matter of perspective. Peter, love everything that you have brought through. Do you have anything else that you would say to kind of finish with Devin there?
You know, um, just open your heart, listen to the perceived inconsistencies, and they will make complete sense.
I love it. Makes it, maybe hard isn't the word. I always, for me, if I'm uncomfortable, I feel like I'm doing it right. And because I love being uncomfortable, because I know that that's where the magic comes in. And I think that's all that's trying to happen for you, Devin, is that you're right on the edge of magic, and sometimes that can be uncomfortable. And if we allow ourselves to just sit there a little bit longer, everything starts to open up, just like what Peter's been so beautifully communicating through this whole entire call. I knew I resonated with you just by kind of sitting in your website, and I definitely love your work, Peter. So I want to celebrate you and just honor you in that. Is there anything that you'd like to say to kind of conclude here that we haven't said so far?
You know, there's so much information that I've pushed out through digital means that's out there now. And, you know, if you do decide to go to the moderndaymystic.com website and you're looking through products or services or whatever, and something resonates with you, it's really important to understand that you're not picking the product is picking you. You never pick a product, it always picks you. There's always a very strong bond and a connection, and that you feel in your gut. You know, it's not your brain because you're going to apply logic. It's not your heart because you're invoking emotion. It's your gut. It's drawing you in. So yeah, just have fun. Take what resonates with you. Discard the rest. The universe we've created is large. The videos, I give free workshops away. You know, subscribe to the MDM channel. Look at, you know, the videos that go back years. Watch how the teachings that I did 10, 15 years ago have, you know, just morphed into something so much more powerful. And that's just through direct work and the love of the work, and how the universe, you know, takes care of its kin when you are and have the ability to spread more love and light in the world. And that's it right there.
Amen. And that's also a testimonial in itself that you have evolved in your own work, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So go, and it's what is your YouTube channel again?
It's Modern Day Mystic.
Modern Day Mystic. So definitely go and like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, to the BioQuantum YouTube channel, like and subscribe there. But I have fun when you're doing that, because when you're liking something or subscribing something that's holding a field, a frequency, like what Peter has brought today, don't just go press the button. Press the button and feel how you just connected into that field that he's created through his work. And so that's the invitation, is to, next time you drink your water, play in the frequencies that Peter has brought through today, and really bring that intention and awareness into everything you do. Thank you so much, Peter. One more shout out to your website,
moderndayMystic.com.
moderndayMystic.com. And that will also be in the show notes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter, again, for
Thank you.
bringing your brilliance. This has been just so much fun for me, and I'm sure for everybody else. And we just appreciate everyone that showed up live and that's on the other end of the live stream live as well. We're sending you all so much love and a big hug. And until next time, activate your water. Left hand. Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Peter. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.